Your person is deeply traumatized at the mere thought of losing you. The idea of you walking away for good terrifies them more than they could ever admit. They feel as though they are standing on the edge of a cliff, watching you drift further and further out of reach, and the fear of being left behind gnaws at them constantly. They want you to wait for them, to hold on just a little longer, because in their heart they know that with you, it's always been all or nothing. There is no halfway when it comes to your love. You've made it clear through your actions and your silence that you will never accept a half-hearted offer, never tolerate being treated as an option. This realization has struck them deeply, forcing them to confront the parts of themselves they've been running from for so long. The transformation within you has not gone unnoticed. Everyone around you can see the change, the confidence, the calm, the peace that now radiates from your presence. You carry yourself differently, with a kind of self-assurance that speaks volumes without words. It's as if you've reclaimed your power after years of giving it away. Your person sees this too, and it both inspires and unsettles them. They can see that you have grown comfortable in your own skin, that you no longer depend on validation from anyone to feel worthy or loved. That kind of strength is magnetic, and yet, it also reminds them of how easily they could lose you if they don't rise to your level. Right now, the ball is in your court. You hold the power, even if you don't realize it. Every moment you resist their pull, every day you choose peace over chaos, you become more desirable in their eyes. The more distance you create, the greater the chase becomes for them. They crave your energy, your presence, your warmth, but they know they can't approach you the same way they did before. They understand now that if they want a place in your life again, it has to be real, no games, no uncertainty, no temporary fixes. They want to make you happy, not just for a fleeting moment, but in a way that lasts. Deep down, they want to give you the stability and devotion that you have always deserved. They are beginning to realize that real love requires commitment, consistency, and courage, all things they once struggled to give. You, on the other hand, have reached a point where you are manifesting the courage to walk alone. You've learned that solitude is not a punishment but a form of freedom. Like a lone wolf, you've discovered that standing alone doesn't make you weak, it makes you powerful. You've endured enough heartbreak, disappointment, and emotional exhaustion to understand that you can no longer pour from an empty cup. You're done begging to be understood or loved properly. Now, your peace has become your priority, and your silence is your loudest statement. Yet, on the other side, your person is not at peace. In fact, your silence has become their biggest source of discomfort. They think about you constantly, from the moment they wake up until they fall asleep, and even in their dreams, your presence lingers. The non-communication between you is driving them to the edge. They replay old conversations, reread old messages, and wonder what went wrong, what they could have done differently. It's as if your absence has created an emotional void they can't seem to fill, no matter how hard they try. Still, they are determined to come back to you. But this time, they want to do it right. They are trying to gather the courage to reach out without letting their desperation show. They want to appear calm, gentle, and mature, the kind of person who has grown, not the one who once took you for granted. They're aware that you can sense weakness or manipulation from a mile away, so they're treading carefully, hoping that when they do show up, you'll see sincerity in their eyes instead of fear. Meanwhile, you continue to move forward, embracing a season of emotional fulfillment and abundance. You are learning that happiness doesn't depend on another person's presence or approval. You are creating it for yourself, day by day, through self-love, through healing, through choosing to honor your boundaries. You've learned to give yourself the kind of care and affection you once waited for others to provide. And in doing so, you've become a magnet for all the good things the universe has been waiting to give you: peace, stability, love, and abundance. Your person can't help but admire your strength. They've watched you rise from moments that would have broken others. After facing so much chaos, heartbreak, and sadness, you are still standing, stronger, wiser, and more radiant than ever. That resilience is what makes you unforgettable. Even though they may have once underestimated you, they now see that you were never the weak one. You were the one holding everything together while they were still trying to find themselves. Now, as you continue to evolve, they find themselves at a crossroads, torn between the desire to come back and the fear of not being enough for you anymore. Your silence has become their mirror, forcing them to see the truth about who they are and who they need to become. Whether or not you choose to give them another chance, one thing is clear: you've already won. You've found your power, your peace, and your voice. You've become someone who no longer chases love, you attract it effortlessly. And that, more than anything, is what terrifies and fascinates them: the realization that the person they almost lost has become the person they can never forget. I have been wearing a mask for so long that I can hardly remember the last time I was truly myself. It's strange to think about how easily we lose sight of who we are when life pushes us to hide behind layers of protection. For years, I've pretended to be strong, confident, and unaffected, while deep down I've been breaking apart piece by piece. I've built walls so high around my heart that even I can't always see past them. But when I met you, something shifted, something inside me began to stir, something that longed to be seen and understood. You looked at me, and it was as if you could see right through the mask I had carefully crafted. That both terrified and comforted me in ways I can't fully explain. When I look at you, I see pure soul, someone so full of love, care, and nurturing energy that it's almost overwhelming. You radiate warmth in a way that reaches the deepest parts of me, melting away the coldness that life and heartbreak had left behind. With you, I feel safe enough to be vulnerable, to strip away the layers and show the messy, imperfect person I really am. That's something I've never been able to do with anyone else. Every time I'm near you, my defenses crumble effortlessly. You make me feel seen, truly seen, not for the person I pretend to be but for the soul I've hidden away for so long. There's an undeniable pull between us, something magnetic that keeps drawing me back no matter how far I try to run. And believe me, I've tried. I ran because I was overwhelmed by the intensity of what I felt, by the unfamiliar comfort of being known, by the fear that I might lose you if I let myself love you too deeply. I thought distance would protect me, but all it did was expose how empty life feels without you. Without your presence, everything loses meaning. The laughter fades faster, the days feel longer, and even the air seems heavier. My life starts falling apart the moment you're not in it. You were the first person to truly see the real me, the me without the mask, without the bravado, without the fear pretending to be strength. And that scared me. It scared me because I wasn't used to being seen without judgment or expectation. It scared me because I realized how much power you had to break me, yet instead of breaking me, you healed parts of me I didn't know were still bleeding. You made me want to be open, to be honest, to be real. You made me believe that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the purest form of connection. Your eyes, they're the most magnificent thing I've ever seen. There's something in them that feels like home, something that pulls me in and makes the rest of the world fade away. I could get lost in them for hours and still feel like I haven't explored their depths. I catch myself daydreaming about you often, about your smile, your voice, the way your presence softens even the hardest days. Those daydreams give me a sense of comfort and happiness I've been chasing for years. It's strange how someone can become your peace in such a chaotic world. You've become that for me, my peace, my calm, my refuge. People from my past taught me to guard my heart. They turned it cold, made me believe that love was just another way to get hurt. I convinced myself that real love didn't exist, that it was something written in stories but never meant for people like me. I promised myself I wouldn't fall again. But then I met you, and everything changed. You dismantled every belief I held about love. You showed me that love doesn't have to be painful, it can be healing, gentle, and full of grace. You made me realize that the right person doesn't demand you to change, they inspire you to grow. I know what I did to you wasn't right. I know I hurt you by pulling away, by pretending I didn't care as much as I actually did. The truth is, I was terrified of how much I loved you. I thought running away would protect both of us, but all it did was leave me with regret. I tried to replace you, to fill the void you left behind with distractions and meaningless connections, but nothing worked. No one else made me feel the way you did, seen, understood, accepted. Every time I looked into someone else's eyes, I was only reminded of yours. Every time I tried to move on, I realized I didn't want to. I miss you more than words can express. I miss the way you made me laugh, the way you listened, the way you could sense what I was feeling even when I couldn't find the words to explain it. I miss the comfort of your presence, the way your energy filled a room, and the quiet moments where simply being next to you was enough. I miss the version of myself that existed when you were around, the one who believed again, who felt alive again. I know I can't undo the past, but I can promise you this, I'm not going anywhere anymore. I've stopped running. You are my home, not just a place or a feeling, but a person who anchors me to something real. You are the reason I want to take off the mask for good. You remind me that being myself is enough. And if you let me, I want to spend my days showing you the same love and warmth you've given me. Because after all this time, I finally understand, home isn't where you live, it's where your soul feels safe. And my soul has only ever felt safe with you. Your partner is beginning to awaken to the weight of their actions and the way they treated you. The realization is finally sinking in that their responses to you were often rude, dismissive, and arrogant. In the past, they may have convinced themselves that you would always be there, no matter how cold or distant they became. But now, in your silence, they are forced to face the truth they had long avoided. They took your kindness for granted. You were patient, understanding, and forgiving, always extending grace even when they didn't deserve it. You gave them chance after chance, believing in the potential for change and hoping that they would eventually meet you halfway. Yet every time, they fell short, choosing pride over vulnerability and ego over love. Now that you've pulled back your energy and chosen to invest in yourself, something within them has shifted. Your absence speaks louder than any words ever could. They can feel the emptiness in the spaces where your presence once filled their days. The messages that used to come from you no longer arrive, the calls that once reassured them of your affection have gone silent. And in that silence, their heart is being drawn back toward you with a force they can't seem to resist. It's as though your withdrawal created a mirror, showing them exactly what life looks like without your warmth, your compassion, and your genuine care. For the first time, they are beginning to see how much of their stability came from your presence, and how much they stood to lose by not appreciating you. While you are out there focusing on your highest purpose, growing, healing, and rediscovering your power, your partner is left watching from a distance. They see you choosing yourself, and it stirs something deep within them. All they want now is the chance to spend quality time with you, to reconnect, to make things right, and to remind you that they still care. But they are realizing that the dynamic has changed. You are no longer chasing them, no longer fighting for a place in their life. You have reclaimed your energy and redirected it towards something greater, your own peace and fulfillment. This newfound strength of yours intimidates them, but it also inspires them. They are beginning to see that love isn't about control or manipulation, it's about respect, mutual effort, and emotional honesty. Still, they can't help but feel left out in the cold. The space you've created feels like a vast emotional distance that they don't know how to cross. They used to find comfort in your attention, in knowing that no matter how far they pushed you, you would always reach back. Now, the roles are reversed, and they are the ones yearning for your attention, wondering if they've finally gone too far. They replay old conversations in their mind, wishing they could undo their careless words or take back the moments when they chose pride over love. It's an ache that keeps growing stronger, the realization that they may have lost someone irreplaceable. Being away from you feels unbearable for them. The silence that once gave them a sense of control now feels suffocating. The loneliness creeps in during the quiet hours of the night, and it feels empty, sad, and painfully isolating. They scroll through old messages and photos, feeling the hollow ache of nostalgia for the connection they once shared with you. They are finally seeing you for who you are, not just as someone who loved them, but as someone of deep value, depth, and emotional strength. You weren't just another person passing through their life. You were the person who genuinely cared, who saw their potential even when they couldn't see it themselves. Now, they realize that you are their best choice. You are the one who stood by them when things were uncertain, the one who believed in the relationship even when they didn't. And yet, in their selfishness, they pushed you away. They see now that there's no one else who can truly replace you. Others may try to fill the void, but no one can replicate your energy, your compassion, or your presence. Every attempt to move on only reminds them of what they lost. The truth is haunting them, the realization that real love doesn't come around often, and when it does, it must be cherished. Your absence has become a mirror reflecting their mistakes, and it's affecting them more deeply than they want to admit. Nights have become restless, sleep no longer comes easily. They lie awake thinking about how differently things could have gone if only they had treated you better, if only they had listened instead of reacting with arrogance and defensiveness. The weight of guilt sits heavy on their chest. They are sorry, genuinely sorry, for the manipulation, the emotional games, and the toxic behavior that once poisoned your connection. What once felt like power now feels like regret. They understand now that love isn't something to be taken lightly, and that losing someone like you is not something easily undone. They are beginning to grasp the depth of the bond they jeopardized. Every day without you feels a little emptier, a little colder. They see you moving forward, glowing with self-assurance and purpose, and it both breaks their heart and motivates them to change. Deep down, they hope for a second chance, not just to have you back, but to prove that they have learned from their mistakes. Whether you choose to forgive them or not, they now understand what it means to truly value someone, and that realization may very well be the most powerful lesson they will ever learn.